My twin sister was caught for drunk driving while she was in college, and she blamed me, and my parents made me take the blame as well. Years later, they showed up at my doorstep homeless because she sold their house without permission. Haley, aged 25, had a difficult and broken childhood. I have two brothers, Hunter, age 30, and Harold, age 28, and a twin sister, Heather, but we have since severed ties. I mainly only keep in touch with my brothers, but that's about it. I don't contact my parents, a 60-year-old man and a 56-year-old woman, either, and I haven't seen them for many years. I never thought that they would find me again one day. For years, I've imagined how they would contact me, whether by phone or in person, but in either case, it always ended with them apologizing to me for how they treated me and ruined my future. However, when the day actually came, what happened was completely different. They didn't apologize at all, but instead hurt me in other ways. Our parents had made it clear that they only wanted 3 children, not 4, and had planned their lives around 3 of us. But we had 4. My sister and I were twins, which no one had expected. And one of the children, as they made no secret of letting everyone know, was the extra one. And the extra one was me. They never said it outright, but their words and actions every day made me feel like I was the one who shouldn't have existed, yet did. I was constantly reminded of this fact, and it came only from my parents. I must be honest and say that my brothers have always been supportive of me, from childhood to adulthood, and have helped me through many difficult times. This discrimination began early on. For example, if they bought something for us, it was always Heidi who got to pick the one she liked, and I was left with what she didn't want. If Mom made lunch according to the kids' preferences, Heidi's preferences were always prioritized. For our parents, twins were seen as one entity, and the center of that entity was only Heidi. By the time I was 7 or 8, my brothers seemed to realize how much this was affecting me, and they would try to include me in their activities. For my parents, I was not Haley, I was just not Heidi. And Heidi enjoyed all the attention, greedily absorbing every drop like a hungry dog. I had a good relationship with my brothers, but she was distant from us because she always acted superior and insisted on doing things her way. She was treated like a princess from a young age, so she thought my brothers should treat her the same way, but they never did. Over time, things got worse, and I gradually closed my heart. At home, the only social interaction I could manage was with my brothers. Meanwhile, Heidi's social life was vibrant, with her attending various social events. I buried myself in my studies and community volunteer work. The real turning point came when we started applying for college, with my grades slightly better than hers, but her resume being more impressive. To our surprise, we were both accepted by the same university, and I didn't want to go there with her. Even my parents were somewhat disappointed with my admission. They only cheered for Heidi while being cold towards me. Ironically, I got a scholarship while she didn't. A few months later, one night in the middle of the night, Heidi called and said she was in big trouble and needed my help. She said she had gone out with her friends and everyone had been drinking heavily. Although her situation was slightly better, she had lost control and crashed into a wall of a house. She said the police were telling her to go to the police station the next day, and she didn't want to have a criminal record. She hadn't told her parents because they were already very angry with her. She said she wanted to go out for a walk and eat something, and I didn't notice that she had taken my wallet. She had taken advantage of my trust in her and used my ID to register herself as Haley Porter at the police station. The next day, I was summoned urgently by the department head and met the police. At first, I thought they were looking for Heather, but they instead accused me of drunk driving and said the university would conduct a disciplinary investigation into me. I was shocked and explained that it was my twin sister, but they didn't believe me, saying the registration name was mine, and the ID was mine as well. It was then that I realized that she had not come to seek support that night, but to frame me instead. After the parents found out, they supported her without hesitation, making me take responsibility because she had loans while I had a scholarship. Faced with this betrayal, I felt an unbearable pain. I called my brother, Harold, who told me not to confess to anything, but I was still expelled from the school within a week for inappropriate behavior. From that day on, my parents and sister died in my heart. After being expelled, I didn't go home, but stayed with Hunter for several months. They supported me in reapplying to another university, and this time I was finally able to study a subject that I truly loved. Although I had to take out a loan, it was better than being with them. 2 years ago, I graduated from college and found my ideal job. Over the years, I have completely cut off all contact with my parents, and occasionally they have tried to reach out to me, but I have never responded. Harold and Hunter have maintained a limited connection with them, and they never tell my parents anything about me, respecting my wishes. However, just a few days ago, my parents showed up at my doorstep at 5 a.m., claiming they had nowhere else to go and crying that they missed me. I called Hunter, who swore he hadn't given them my address. I asked them to leave, but they had a lot of luggage, which looked like they were planning to stay for a long time. I had no choice but to move their luggage outside one by one, which finally forced them to tell the truth. It turned out that they had been tracking my social media accounts with fake accounts and had found my address. The real reason was that they had been thrown out of their own house by Heidi. They used to trust Heidi's friends and rented out the ground floor of their house to them, but those people gradually took over the whole house, and Heidi even sold the whole house to them without her parents' knowledge. The parents were homeless, so they came to me for help. I told them that they could absolutely call the police because it involved forging signatures and fraud, but they didn't want Heather to go to jail and instead wanted me to take them in. I couldn't understand their thinking, as they were only willing to be Heather's parents and let her run the show. I made it clear that they were not welcome and told them to leave immediately, or else I would call the police. In the end, they reluctantly left. A few days later, Hunter told me that his parents had arrived with their luggage, but his girlfriend, Sia, asked them bluntly how long they planned to stay. They stammered and couldn't give a specific answer. Sia was a straightforward person who didn't hesitate to demand a definite date from them. In the end, the parents said they didn't have a specific time because they were waiting for Heather to change her mind. But this time they didn't succeed, and Hunter and Sia also refused them. I don't know where they're going next, but it's no longer my problem.